heard you guys. I heard what each and every one of you guys had to say. Just because I don't like the second half of a book doesn't mean that I should skim through it. But to my defense, I thought I was helping you guys. I wanted to rescue you guys from the nothingness that is the second half of The Secret History. But listen, that's my opinion. Be polite. That's my opinion. But luckily for you guys, today I'm going to take my sweet, sweet time and I'm going to go from cover to cover of my book for today. I love this book so much. And you guys heard me. I love Greek mythology. I like fantasy. I love everything that is Greek mythology, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt. I'm not ashamed to say, once upon a time, I was a Wattpad girly. Okay, Wattpad had me, guys. It had me. And one of my favorite genres, everybody's favorite genre was like one of those fanfic, One Direction stories. That was not one of mine. Or the Mob Boss. One of those. Not mine. My favorite genre was everything ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt. One of the stories where our girlie falls in love with one of the heroes of old, like Achilles, Hercules and whatnot, or even one of the gods. So as I was in that deep, deep rabbit hole that is Wattpad, I was reading a lot of these books, and one of the books that I came across was Circe. Actually, one of the books I came across was The Song of Achilles, also by Madeline Miller. And till today, I'm not sure which one I love more, The Song of Achilles or Circe. I think Circe. I think in high school, I loved The Song of Achilles more. I just love Achilles' story. I've watched every single movie. I've read every single book. I loved the one with Brad Pitt. Maybe one day I'll actually go into The Song of Achilles. I think I'll actually do Madeline Miller's version because I think it was one of the best. But today we're not talking about The Song of Achilles. We're talking about her other book, Circe. Oh my God, guys. I love this book. I think it's in my top 10. It's definitely in my top 10. The older I get, the more I fall in love with the character of Circe. Actually, someone asked me which one of them is my favorite, Cersei Lannister or Circe. Both of them are questionable. And everybody, I don't hate Cersei Lannister. In fact, I love her. I'm ashamed to say I love Cersei Lannister, but I love Cersei. This Circe as well. But anyway, welcome to Nerd Out. Hey guys, thank you for joining me. Today I am nerding out about Circe. So let's get right into it. So I think how I wanted to start today's recap was to actually read a sentence from this wonderful book. So the sentence goes, Chapter 1. When I was born, the name for what I was did not exist. I just want to read that part because I think that is such a great opening. When I read that book, that sentence alone, I said, tell me more. Tell me more. What are you? What are you, girlie? What are you? So to go into Circe, we first of all have to understand Greek mythology. Okay, I feel like we have to. We must. To understand what she needs in that first sentence, we need to go into Greek mythology. So Greek mythology is so fascinating, like all mythology, including African mythology. I feel like African mythology is not talked about enough. Maybe one day I'll do one. There are so many that I love so much. All the way from like South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawian stories that I've heard, Nigerian stories. Like there are so many myths that like we have not. I wish someone could write books about it. Maybe I should write books about it. Tell me guys, what do you guys think? Anyway, let me go into Circe. So to understand Circe, you need to understand Greek mythology. And I'm not all knowing when it comes to Greek mythology. I think I haven't deep dived into it the way I used to be so into it back in high school and varsity. But anyway, so in the beginning of time, there was nothing. Well, there was chaos. It was chaos. Grandma, mommy, if you guys are listening to this, I'm not saying I subscribe to this. I am I'm Christian. In the beginning, there was a word. Okay? But in Circe's universe, in the beginning, there was nothing. There was chaos. And from chaos, there were deities that were born. These are gods, right? And one of my favorite gods, I think everyone's favorite gods, is Gaia, Mother Earth. Other people call her whatever you call her, Gaia, Mother Earth. And from Gaia came the night sky, a god called the night sky, Uranus. So Gaia was bored and she wanted to get some action. So who else could she get some action from than her son, Uranus, the night sky? It's Greek mythology, guys. Of course there's incest. Of course. But let's just jump over that. So Uranus and Gaia, Mother Earth, Uranus, the night sky, they do it. And Gaia gets pregnant. And Gaia has 3 babies, Cyclops, one-eyed monsters. And when Uranus sees them, first of all, the story of Gaia and Uranus is, it should be a lesson to you girlies. It should be a lesson to us all. Be very careful who you have kids with. Okay? Be very careful. That is the story of Gaia and Uranus. Anyway, Gaia has her 3 sons. Big babies with big eyes. One giant eye, like Cyclops. And Uranus sees them and says, these ugly freaks, no thank you. Tosses them in the underworld. Gaia is angry, but she's like, you know what? I need action. I'm a girl. I'm just a girl. I need some. Okay. And they do it again. And this time, she has other kids. She has more kids. She has kids with, I think, 50 heads and 100 hands. And when Uranus sees them, she's like, these ones are worse. Gaia, what are you doing? Like, come on. You are Earth. And you are giving birth to these freaks. And I am the night sky. I am beautiful. The night sky is beautiful, guys. It is. And Earth is beautiful. So why does Gaia keep having freaks, man? Anyway, Uranus is like, no thank you. Throws them in the underworld. Then Gaia is pissed now. She's like fuming, but she says, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I need some. So she and Uranus do the deed again, and this time they give birth to Titans. When I was telling my sister this, she was like thinking like Titans, like Attack of the Titans. I was like, no, girlie, no. This is not anime. Not that Attack of the Titans. But anyway, the Titans were these giant, magnificent, humanoids, but they are gods. They are brilliant. They are so powerful. They are beautiful. If you think, what should a god look like? Titans were perfect. And Gaia's like, finally, look at my babies. Perfect. Be careful of who you have kids with, please. Because Uranus comes and he's like, okay, they're beautiful. But like the insecure idiot he is, he's like, yeah, no, they're gonna steal my shine. I'm the night sky. Everybody should be looking at me and praising me. I should be the most beautiful thing in the room. These ones, these little tough things of yours, they're too much. So, I mean, imagine being in competition with your own kids. I mean, Uranus, come on. Don't live up to your name, man. Don't live up to your name. Anyway, he's like, no. Get rid of them. And so Gaia's like, you cannot throw my babies into the underworld. You cannot. And Uranus is like, fine. Yeah, I just don't want to see them. I just don't want to look at them, okay? So what she does is she takes them into her body, into Earth. And so Uranus doesn't have to see them. But Gaia's pissed. I would be too. As Gaia, I would be plotting. So Gaia, plotting. By the way, it is so hot in Johannesburg today. So don't judge me. Anyway, as I was saying, so I'm having some of this. I'll just have one. So cold. I don't want to have eat it on the camera. That's why I bit into it, but that was a horrible idea. But anyway. So cold. So cold. Anyway. So she's pissed. She's plotting. I would be plotting too. I would be seeking vengeance. Okay? So she's seeking vengeance. So she goes to her kids and she says, kids, listen. Your dad, not a good God. Horrible person. I need us to deal with him. So which one of you guys are gonna do it? So there were 12 of them, like I said, right? 6 goddesses and 6 gods, titans, all powerful. And all of them were like, Mommy, we love you. But no, he's the night sky. He's the night sky. What do you expect us to do? Then one of her kids, Kronos, the little one, the smallest one of them, comes up and says, I will do it. I mean, we know the story, guys. It's like the story of David, right? And so Kronos is like, I will do it. I will handle him. And they're like, you're small. You're a baby. You can't do it. Sit down. But he's like, I have an idea. By the way, Kronos is the titan of time. He's like, can manipulate time and whatnot. But he doesn't like do anything with his power to get to his dad. But instead, he does something so iconic. So Gaia's like, okay, they hatch up this plan. Gaia would distract him, and then Kronos will come in and do the deed. So Gaia calls Uranus. It's like, oh, Uranus, yeah, I was angry before, but come daddy. Anyway, Uranus comes down and they start doing it. As they are doing it, Kronos comes on and he takes his sword and he cuts off his dad's balls. Obviously, he doesn't die because he's a night sky, but he's so embarrassed he just goes back. But where his balls, his blood and everything, where it falls off, from there comes other gods, other titans and whatnot. So that is how everything started, right? So Gaia, who's very grateful for what Kronos has done, awards him the world and says, you are the king of the world now. You, Kronos, everything. Then she goes to sleep. Then Kronos gets a prophecy. It always starts with a prophecy. And I have so much to say about prophecies, especially when the prophecies are not done well. When the prophecies are not done correctly, I have a problem. And I don't want to say this. I don't want to bring it up because I know one of the things is like, can't you say anything without bringing up that one book? But in that one book, there was a prophecy. In that one book, that is my favorite book ever, there was a prophecy. And that prophecy, well, I'm still waiting to find out what happens to the prophecy. But in the short version of that book, they butchered the prophecy. But anyway, Kronos gets a prophecy that one day, one of his kids is going to be like greater than him and overthrow him. And he takes after his dad, like son like that. He also hates his kids. So Kronos gets married to his sister, who is the goddess of fertility. And they start doing it. They start having babies. So when they have their first baby, Kronos is like, whoop, swallows up his kid. So, I mean, I don't know who's worse. The one that threw them in the underworld or the one that just swallowed them. I feel like Uranus was better. I don't like Uranus, but I feel like it was better. Like, at least they are in the underworld. I'm sure they are thriving. They're good. They're whatever. But Kronos, man, in his mouth. That is insane. It's insane. But obviously they don't die. They are immortal. So they are living inside of him. So I guess him and Uranus are the same. Like, both of their kids don't die. They're just living somewhere else. But I still think the underworld is better than your dad's stomach. Come on. Anyway, so she has other kids. And then the wife gets suspicious. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And so after she gives birth to her last son, Zeus, I know everybody knows this one. After she gives birth to her son Zeus, she swaps him up and then she puts like a stone in a blanket. So when Kronos comes, he's like, beautiful, beautiful. Didn't even notice. Oops. Throws him inside his stomach. He gets a little stomach ache, but he carries on with his life. And then what she does is she gives her son Zeus to the nymphs, and they take him to an island of Crete, where he grows up and he becomes strong and whatever. And then when he grows up and becomes strong, he then essentially comes up and he fights his dad, right? Fights his dad, kicks him. The dad vomits up all his siblings, like Poseidon and whatnot, all the gods that we know, right? So you have Gaia and Uranus, which are great deities. I think they are the first gods. They then have the Titans, which are also gods. And then from the Titans, you then have the Olympian gods, Zeus, Poseidon, all of them, Hera, all of those gods. And then, so from there, when Zeus starts fighting his dad and all of that, a civil war essentially breaks out, right? And during the civil war, some Titans and some Olympians join forces. I've heard a lot of people say they don't understand how the Olympians won the war, because the Titans are far stronger than them. So anyone would think that the Titans would have won. To be honest, I was Team Titans. I mean, when we everybody, like, there's not a single person in the story that is just good. All of them are so questionable. All of them are flawed. And so either way, one won and the other one lost. It's fine. It is fine. I'm gonna have more of this. Have more of this. Hold my teeth. Anyway. So civil war happens. The Olympians win, and everybody else, like the Titans that were on Kronos' side and Kronos, they get banished to the underworld. I think of the Titans that were on Kronos' side, only one guy was not banished. I forgot his name, but he holds up the world. He was not banished because, I mean, if he's banished, who holds up the world after all? And then you had Helios, Circe's dad. So Helios, god of the sun. So he's a titan, right? He's magnificent. He's all of that. He's also a very So he's mighty. He's one of the strongest titans, one of the strongest gods. So he actually had aligned himself with Zeus and the Olympians. So they let him stay. He didn't stay because he was like, oh, I love them. No, he stayed because it was a politically wiser thing to do at the time. So he stayed around. He's the goddess of the sun. So during the day, he's on his golden chariot, just driving around the world, flying around the world, whatever it is that he's doing. And he's basically day. So when he's done, then the darkness comes in, right? So that's Helios. So Helios is a little busy man. These gods get busy. I mean, they get busy with everybody. They get busy with each other, siblings, cousins, everybody, mothers, as we saw from Gaia and Uranus. So Helios decides that he's a little, every single girly pop wants him, every single nymph wants him. And so what are nymphs? So nymphs are lesser gods. They're not powerful. They're like, some people would say nymphs are like very close to mermaids. They're not, but they are usually they talk to like fish and they sing songs. I mean, you can get wooden nymphs like that are like talk to trees and whatnot. So those are nymphs. They're very fertile. They're very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. All the gods want to marry them or do the dirty with them. So those are nymphs. So Helios is busy with the nymphs, and he meets one nymph who is essentially his cousin. No, his niece. His niece. And he decides he wants to get busy with her. Percy is her name. And Percy's like, hello, I'm Percy. I'm one of the prettiest nymphs in the room. Hello. You are not about to bed me and run away. You are marrying me. Okay. And so Helios is like, okay, I'll marry you. But obviously, our homegirl Percy is not down. She knows. She knows. So she says, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with all the other nymphs. But let me tell you, I am the queen of this house. I rule. Okay? I am everything. So they get married. Helios allows Percy to be the queen, to be the narcissistic person that she is, and Percy allows Helios to be the little cheating person thing, god that he is. And he does whatever he does during the day. They come back and they do it, and they have a baby. They have a daughter. And when her daughter is born, Helios gives Percy like some jewels, and she's like showing off to everybody. Like, and then she asks Helios to basically prophesy what the baby's life will be. And she's like, what will he be? Will she be powerful? Will she be strong? What will she be? And Helios looks at her and says, well, she's gonna marry a prince. And Percy's like, what do you mean? Like, a prince from Zeus's house? Because Percy, the one thing, she's married to one of the strongest titans. But remember, Zeus, after throwing Kronos into the underworld, Zeus became the king of all the gods. So he's like, and with his wife Hera and all of that. So Percy, she's narcissistic, she's egotistic, she wants. So she's married to one of the strongest titans, but that's not enough for her. She wants to give birth to a child that is either a son that is either as strong as Helios, or a daughter so beautiful that that daughter will marry into Zeus's house. So essentially, she will become in-laws with Zeus. I mean, they're already family, but I digress. So she's like, so will he marry into Zeus's family? And Helios is like, no, look at her. I felt so sad when I was reading this, because it's one thing to be bullied by the world, or for the world to undermine you, but it's just something else to hear your parents. I mean, Circe was not. Oh my god, I just spoiled it. But anyway, Circe was not old enough to hear it at that point. She was just a baby. But I'm just saying. So anyway, they're like, no, look at her. Look at her eyes. Her eyes were yellow. Her hair was not, and her voice was all corny. So they essentially named her after a hawk, like a hawk, and that's where her name comes off, Circe. And that's why she says, when I was born, there was no name for what I was. I mean, titans and nymphs were having kids. Gods and nymphs were having kids. And their kids were always these magnificent creatures. And then there was Circe, who was just nothing. I feel like she was probably pretty. It was just that she was not god status pretty. I think in human terms, Circe was probably pretty, because I mean, we get into the other when we get to the second half of the book. By the way, I'm gonna make this into 2 parts, because I just love this book so much, and maybe even 3 parts. No, actually 2 parts. And let me just get over this part, because it's about to get interesting. So Percy looks at Circe, hearing that Circe is absolutely going to be nothing, and Circe is not even that beautiful. And Percy's like, I want another one. So Circe grows up to be, she's actually bullied by every single one. Her fellow nymphs from her mother's side are all like, look at us, we're so pretty, look at you, you're not, you're ugly. And then Helios is like, shame, child, shame. He just doesn't give a about her. And Percy just she just likes to be Helios' wife, showing off to everybody else. And she wants to get busy right away. So she gets busy right away, and they have more kids. They have Circe's other siblings, who, by the way, I thought when they were born it was going to be better, because now you have siblings. I mean, I have a brother and a sister. My brother and I are always fighting, but there's no one in this world that I know will have my back the way my brother does. My brother would literally go to the ends of the world for me. Yeah, he would. He likes to pretend like he wouldn't, but he would. So when she had her siblings were not nice. Like they were like, "You're so ugly. Listen to your voice. Look at us. We are magnificent. And look at you. Look at you. You're so I want some popcorn." Anyway, so they're like to her, salt and being on my favorite. Anyway, they're like to her, "You are ugly. You're nothing special." And they bully her and they isolate her anyway. And so Circe's days are basically just sad and boring. The only thing she really has to look up for is for when her dad comes back from doing his rounds, shining his lights upon the world, and he comes back and sits there. And when he comes back, he shines up the room, and Circe runs up to him, and then Percy's like, "Move, move! I want to be with my husband." But anyway, Circe would just sit by his feet and just listen to his stories, just listen to him talk, and then her dad would talk about how magnificent he is and everything. And then so he'll just listen. So see one of the days, so a bunch of things that I think are engraved in Circe's head. This is the first. I think a couple events. This was the first one. So she asked her dad, "Dad, what happens if a human ever sees you like up close?" And Helios is like, "They will obviously burn to death." And then Circe is like, "What will happen when they see me?" And then Helios is like, "They will count themselves lucky," meaning you are nothing, you are not powerful, you might as well be the same thing as a human, so they would be lucky to bump into you, like you cannot do anything. And I think that was the first thing. The second thing is when one of the gods gives humans fire, and Zeus gets pissed, and so Zeus is like punishes that god. And the thing that I'm saying it stays with Circe is that essentially the god snitched on himself. Like, guys, why would you do that? Like, why would you snitch? And it was because Zeus, like, he gave fire to. He's a titan, so he's quite powerful. He gave fire to the humans without Zeus's permission, and Zeus punished him by having they tied him up, and every day like hawks come and they eat his liver, and obviously he's immortal, so his liver regenerates, but every time they come and eaten him. So imagine that. That sounds painful. That sounds very, very painful. I was like, oh my god, Madeline, is that you? No, but it's Greek mythology, guys. Greek mythology is a lot. But anyway, I say anyway a lot. So he gets punished, and Circe goes up to talk to him, and she doesn't understand why, first of all, he snitched on himself, and second of all, why everybody else, including her dad, who is essentially his brother, because they're both titans, doesn't do anything about it. Like, they just look at him and and they go on with their lives. I tell you, these gods are not good. They're not good people. They're not good gods. And so Circe actually gives him nectar, right? And she's not allowed to do that. Like, if they catch her, she's gonna be in trouble. So that's one of the things that I think you can see that Circe is quite different from, and that's why that first sentence is it's everything, because she's so different, not only because she doesn't look like them, but she also has a good heart. She also one of the questions that she asks is, what are mortals like? What are humans like? Because she finds humans so fascinating. And the god says to her, the titan says to her, he envies the humans because humans die. Imagine being a god and like I cut you and you heal, and I come back and I keep cutting you and I keep cutting you, and it's endless, it's forever. Whereas I'm human, I think sometimes death is mercy. That's profound. But yeah, death is mercy. So Circe, she's quite like, she wants to understand why he said he envies humans. So she goes into a little room and she takes a knife and she cuts herself. Obviously, she doesn't. She heals because she is Helios's daughter. But here's the thing: Circe's blood is red. She's still immortal, but she's not godlike because a lot of the gods have golden blood. She doesn't. So that's also, I'm saying, this was such an important part of Circe's existence, like this part. So you can see, like, I mean, Circe, I just feel very sad for her. I just feel so sad for her growing up with the dad and the mom that she grows up with. Then has these siblings that are complete trash, and then the whole world. So that was the first one, was when her dad told her that she's nothing by telling her that if the humans see her, they will count themselves lucky. The second one, when she gives that god that was being punished nectar, and he tells her why he envies humans, and she cuts herself and sees that her blood is red. And that one is, she again reaffirms to her that she's absolutely not as great as everybody else. And the other one is when her dad actually takes her on his chariot with her across the world, and she gets to meet all her new cousins, and the new cousins are like, oh, poor you, and she's like, why? I'm just like you guys. I'm like, no, you're not like us. We are beautiful. You're ugly. And so you can see that's another moment where it's like she's being kicked out. Poor Circe. And then what happens next? Let me have more of my little icy. Can I have more of it later? So then Percy, her mom, and Helios' dad, they keep doing it. And then they finally have that majestic son that they always wanted. I mean, the other two were very powerful, very great. But this one seemed like he becomes Helios' favorite later because he's quite powerful and quite smart, and quite good looking as well. But when he's born, like, Percy's like, I want nothing to do with him. Like, she's not a good mom. She gets a little jewel, a little necklace from Helios, and she's happy she can show it off. And then she's like, nymphs, here you go, raise him. And then nymphs are like, Percy, we tired of raising your kids for you. So Circe, she's like, I'll do it. She's old enough now. So she takes it and she looks at this baby and she says, she knows, she falls madly in love with him. And no, not that other Gaia and Uranus love, but she just loves him so much. Like, this is her brother. She loves him so much. So this is her brother. She loves him so much. I can understand. When my little sister was born, I fell madly in love with her. She was the prettiest thing in the whole world, and I loved her so very much. So that's Circe. And obviously, because her brother is obviously a god as well, so he grows up pretty fast, and they always take these little walks on the beach, and he's growing very fast. He's very smart. He's very powerful. And everybody used to tease him and like, oh, look at you guys. You guys look like lovers. And they're like, oh, start eyeing them. But it was not like that for Circe at all. She just loved him so much because this was her brother. And he loved her. Like, this was the first person that genuinely loved Circe, that didn't judge her, that like just looked at her and thought like, she's great. This is my sister. My sister is gorgeous. That's what he thought. And he loved his sister. And then when he grows up older, Helios loves him as well. So Helios actually gives him like his own little kingdom, his own little island. And he comes to Circe and like, Circe, I'm leaving. Dad gave me my own kingdom, And Circe is like, but you're leaving me? And like, yeah, I'm going away. This part was sad. But I mean, I understand. He's old enough. He wants to go, and he doesn't want to live here, under Zeus's control and everything, and the dad. So he just wants to go, you know. So he leaves. He leaves, and Circe's like, "Can I come with you?" And he's like, "No. Ask Dad to give you a home." But Circe knows that he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna give him his own. So he leaves, and when he's gone, Circe goes back to her lonely life, and essentially she's like just walking down that little beach that they used to walk, the two of them, and she just walks there every single day. Just walks there. One thing I forgot to mention about Circe's brother before I go into the next part is he's very smart. And one of the things that he learns to do is, when Uranus died and they cut off his balls, where his blood fell, gods came up. So when gods die, right? When gods bleed, from where their blood falls, flowers grow, herbs, plant these herbs, and those herbs are essentially magical, and you can use those herbs. But not every single person knows how to use them. But Circe's brother figures out how to do it, and obviously he doesn't tell anyone that he can do it, because why would you? Why would you tell them that you can do this thing and then they start treating you different, or they start acting afraid of you, whatever? So he knows how to do it. And so Circe is walking down the beach after the brother leaves, and one day she's walking down and she sees a boat. This is the part that gets me. Oh my gosh, she sees a boat and she sees a human. And she goes down to this human, and this human sort of like recognizes this guy. He recognizes that Circe is a goddess, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry if I'm on your beach," and all of that. And Circe's like, "No, don't worry about me. I'm not even powerful, girl." I'll just slap her. Girl, why would you tell a man that you are? It's like me walking around in the dark, and then I see a bunch of dudes, and I'm like, I don't have a weapon. I'm alone. And even back then, there were stories of humans raping nymphs. So, like, Circe, what are you doing? What are you doing? But anyway, he doesn't rape her. They start talking together, and they talk and they talk, and Circe is fascinated. She wants to hear everything. By the way, he's not even that good looking. I just wanted to say that. He's not good looking at all. But anyway, Circe is fascinated by him, and he starts visiting and starts telling all his stories. One day he comes over, guys. This is why you should never give these guys a chance. Okay, I'm engaged, but nonetheless, this is why you should never give this guy a chance. Like, what the hell? He comes back to her tomorrow and he's like, my life sucks. Like, I've been spending so much time with you, and because of that, I haven't been catching any fish, and my life sucks. So Circe feels bad for him, and obviously she wants him to keep coming around. So she goes to her grandmother and says, please, bless him. Her grandmother, from her mom's side, is married to the Titan of the sea, Oceanus. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. And so her grandmother obviously can bless him, and he gets more fish. And what she does is the grandmother blesses him and he gets more fish, and he's so happy, and he goes away and he doesn't come back. And then he comes back a little bit later. And when he comes back a little bit later, he's like, oh, I feel so tired. I'm so weak. Guys, this is why don't date a guy that is like, I don't want to be that person, but sometimes it's good to date up, because if she dated if she would just fell in love with a god or a titan, or even it would have been better than her falling in love with him, because he comes back like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, woe is me. Oh, my life. And Circe, it hits her. It hits her at that point in time that, oh my God, this guy is gonna die. This guy is gonna die one day. So she goes to her grandmother again and says, grandmother, he's gonna die. What am I gonna do? And her grandmother's like, Circe, yeah, don't do anything reckless, but But so she remembers what her brother taught her about the the herbs, and she also remembers like the story that everybody talks about. So what she does is then she goes to her dad and her uncles, and she sits there and she listens to them and says, tell me about all the battles that you guys fought. And obviously they love talking about themselves, so they start talking about, oh, we fought here, we fought there. She's very smart. Where they fought means they were bleeding, and where they were bleeding, it means they're magical flowers. So she goes there and she picks up the magical flowers, and so when her little human boyfriend comes over, she like sits there with him, and he's so tired, like the human that he is, and he lies there and he's tired. And Circe, like, she doesn't know how, but it comes to her. That's where Circe starts to realize her power. So as he's lying there, Circe is like, my darling, and she puts the flowers in his mouth. She doesn't know why, but she just do it because it's like a calling for her. So she puts the flowers in his mouth while he's sleeping, and then nothing happens, like absolutely nothing happens. But then, like, Circe, she wills him. She's like, do not die, do not die, do not die. She wills him, and he starts changing. Like, he becomes a god. And not some magnificent, like, titan, like, god. He just becomes like a squid. Handsome Squidward. He becomes like handsome Squidward. In my head, as I was reading, I was thinking about handsome Squidward. That's how he becomes. He becomes a god. And he wakes up, he's like, oh my god, Circe, look at me. Look at me. I'm so powerful now. I'm a god. I'm a god. So Circe literally turns this guy into a god. I wish at that point in time we got, like in fairy tales, like in Cinderella, and they lived happily ever after. No, that's not what happened. I'm pretty sure you can guess what happens. So what happens next? So Circe takes him to everybody, and obviously everybody, like, what I don't get is why they don't ask. They don't ask how this human becomes a god. Like, they don't ask. They just like celebrate him. Her grandmother obviously like side eyes her, like, girl, I know what you did. But nobody else asks. And I think one of the reasons why they do not ask is because they underestimate her. They do not believe that Circe is capable of anything. So of course, Circe could not have turned a human into a god. Of course. Because if she did that, that means Circe is quite powerful. And Circe is a threat because as you heard, these little insecure gods are problematic. So they don't question it. They just like give him an island and a palace and everything, and then all the nymphs now they start following him around. And the thing is, he's not good looking, he's not hot, and he's not even the most powerful. He's just a god. But obviously he's a new unmarried god, so they all like throw their attention at him, and all the nymphs start throwing themselves at him. And what does he do? He starts ignoring our girl Circe. He starts ignoring her. I mean, she turned him into a god. Imagine if this was Beauty and the Beast, and Belle turned the Beast into a prince, and after that the prince started ignoring her. That's what happens. He starts ignoring Circe and paying attention to all the other nymphs. And then there's this one nymph, Celia, I think I'm saying her name right. Celia is like, all of them are following him around, and Celia is one of the prettiest nymphs. And Celia one day goes to Circe and says, Circe, do you like my necklace? Do you like my jewels? And Circe's like, yeah, they look nice. Circe, our girl, is so in love, and she's so naive. She doesn't realize what Celia's trying to tell her. And Celia goes, you like them, huh? You like my necklace? Yeah, my fiance gave them to me. And Circe's like, your fiance? You have a fiance? Yeah, my fiance gave them to me. Your boyfriend. And Circe gets mad because she thought, like, I turned him into a god, so obviously he's gonna marry me. No. And that's where I'm gonna leave you guys now. I'm gonna leave you right there. Join me for part 2, where I'll talk about why you should never give ugly guys a chance. Why you should never give ugly guys a chance. Anyway, I love you guys. Kisses. Thank you. Join me next time. I'm gonna finish having my popcorn.